G'day guys, Jace here from Flying with Jace. Today I want to talk about in-flight diversions, specifically VFR in-flight diversions, and specifically aimed at the recreational pilot, so 100 knot aircraft, day VFR flights only. Something you'll have to do for your test, and something that might actually save your butt one day. So let's get into it and have a look. We'll go through the way I like to do it, the way I like to think about it, and then we'll watch a couple of practical videos of them actually being done in flight. All right, the thing I like to use is a mnemonic DIVERT. Works nicely with a diversion. It stands for details down. Is it possible? VTC VNC. Emergency. Radio calls and turn time. And they're really, if you think about it, the main things that you need to think or you need to worry about when you're doing a diversion. So let's break it down and look at each one of those specifically. All right, firstly, details down. You need to pick an obvious point that you're going to divert from. It's no good just turning at a random point or a random time in space if you don't have to. I'm sure from time to time there'll be, maybe if you're doing a long overwater leg, or if you're somewhere 50 miles west of Birdsville, there may not be a random point to divert from, but it's generally easiest if you pick an obvious point to divert from. Maybe back to your last positive fix, and that's why we're putting the dot, the circle, and a time on a map. So maybe back to your last positive fix, but pick somewhere obvious to divert from, for no other reason than it makes planning the diversion so much easier. Get the details down, get the track and distance down. If it's a long way, use a whack. Put it on the whack, get it done. We'll worry about the VTC later. Don't forget to adjust for magnetic variation, and this is the time when you'll do it. The video we're going to see the magnetic variation is 10 degrees. You'll see me prompt for that, but don't forget it. Get it down on a whack. Write it down. Physically put it in your flight plan. Write it down. Guess the wind. Now, I've seen plenty of things there where people are doing all this pre-flight planning and they're, this wind, and if the wind's from here and the wind's from there, it'll be this heading and this heading, and they'll work out every possible wind variation for their cruising altitude. In my experience, you never divert from your cruising altitude. You've normally descended down due to weather or terrain, or there's another reason you want to divert. You'll probably have, especially if you've spent the last 50 miles flying along, a fairly good idea where the wind's actually coming from. You might have seen wind lanes on the water, you might have seen smoke at altitude, or you might have the flight forecast with you. And I would suggest that you probably do. So it's no good drawing this elaborate diagram before you go. Work the wind out for you, and if you need to, just draw a line on your map. Draw your line between 2 points, and then draw the wind in. So if we're flying from there to there, and the wind is from 180, draw it in and have a look, and you can work that out. If the wind is exactly across from your flight plan, you've got no headwind, no tailwind. If you're flying that way and the wind is exactly headwind, 100% of that wind is headwind. If it's on a 45-degree angle, half the wind strength is headwind, or half the wind strength is tailwind. Work it out somewhere in between that. That's the way I like to look at the wind. Oops. Apply the wind correction and get a ground speed. Use that to determine the time interval. Now, a word of caution here. When you're measuring your distance, make sure you use the correct ruler. It can be really, really easy in the heat of the moment to put your ruler down, draw your line, measure your distance, and use 1:250 on a 1:1,000,000 map, or the other way around. And your what is in reality a 130-mile leg is measured at 25 miles. So make sure you use the right length of ruler. Make sure it's all written down. Now, in this details down section, it's easy to measure it, and I haven't put a point on here. This is going to take some time. Now, when you watch the video later on, it takes 7 to 8 minutes to get these details down. Now you're thinking, that's crazy. I'm just going to draw a line from one point to another, measure the heading, measure the track, measure the distance, work out the wind, and put it. If you've got to fly the aircraft at the same time, not go into wind, work out where you are, work out where you've got to go, not fly into clouds, keep the point on the ground in sight. Don't descend, look after the aircraft. It can take 7 or 8 minutes just to do that simple planning. So you need to think about that. keep an eye out. Don't stall the aircraft. Aviate, navigate, communicate. Fly the aircraft first. Don't stall spin just because your eyes are in. Concentrate on that. Don't forget to turn that fuel tank off. Aviate first. Make sure it's all written down. Okay, that's detailed down. Is it possible? This is possibly the most important question. Can you make it with the remaining fuel? So we've decided to divert from one point to another. We've measured the distance. We've measured the time. We know it's going to take us 20 minutes. Do I physically have that much fuel left in my tanks? It's no good diverting if you're going to run out of fuel halfway there. Can you make it over the terrain? If you're diverting due to weather and the line you've drawn on your map, right at the far end of it is a 4,000 foot point and you've already worked out the clouds are at 2,500, you probably can't make it over the terrain. Doesn't apply so much around this area, but if you're down south somewhere, you might have a 6,000 or 7,000 foot terrain you've got to get over. You've got icing to worry about. Can you physically do it? Is the diversion runway suitable? It's no good diverting somewhere if it's a dirt runway and it's been raining there for 2 weeks and it's going to be a quagmire. Again, you might not be able to land there. So a little bit of local knowledge. Did you check the NOTAMs? Did you say we're going to Stanthorpe and the NOTAM said Stanthorpe runway is unavailable because they're ripping it up? So did you check it? Is the runway suitable? And these are all things that should be going through your mind when you do this. Is it possible? Is the runway available? Like I said, is it physically able to be used? Can you enter that airspace? Is there a big chunk of military restricted airspace between you and your diversion, or is it going to go through the Brisbane control zone? You need to be looking at this. Is it possible? Can I physically do it? And if you can't, then no good planning that diversion. It's no good going somewhere if you can't land there when you get there, or if you can't actually get there, you might need to pick the next most suitable runway. VTC, VNC, and there's one there in the background. Okay, if you used a WAC for planning, and I quite often do, especially if it's a long way, it could be a really long line on the VTC. So if it's a long diversion, draw it on there. VTC or VNC might not be available. Then you might need to use your EFB or one of the IFR charts. But generally, if you're around the more built-up areas, a VTC, VNC will be available. Get the line down on that. Check for airspace. Check for PRDs. Look for CTAFs, etc. Again, you need to know if you're going to fly through restricted airspace. You need to know if you're going to fly into the Brisbane CTAF. If you're going to fly into the Brisbane controlled airspace, or if you're going to fly through a CTAF, or if the place you're going is a CTAF. If you're diverting to Redcliffe on this map here, best you know that you're going to, what airspace you've got to fly through to get there and what the Redcliffe CTAF frequency is. So check for airspace. Obstacles. A lot of obstacles aren't on the WAC. Is there a 559 foot high tower between you and where you want to go? Or is there a 900 foot high tower sitting at 900 feet above sea level and you've got to punch through at 500 feet due to weather? Are those obstacles going to be a problem for you? A lot of them are only on the VTC, VNC. Make notes of frequency changes. Now's the time to do it. So just a note, maybe on the VTC, I'm going to cross the green line here. I'm going to cross this green line. There's going to be a frequency change and I might need to go on to 125.7. Make those notes now during the planning stage. All right, emergency. Most of the time that you're diverting, it's going to be due to an emergency of some variety. Hey, we do a diversion in training, but very rarely do you go out on a nav and just go, you know what, for the hell of it, I'm just going to do a diversion. So at this stage in the mnemonic, I like to get you to think about the emergency. Why are we diverting? Is there anything special I need to consider? So why am I doing it? Is there an emergency that I need to deal with, that I need to think about my actions now? And it's quite common that diversion will be because of a sick passenger. My passenger is really, really unwell. He's had a heart attack. He's passed out. He's gone purple. Okay. Do I need to organise an ambulance for my arrival? Okay. If it is a sick passenger, where's the nearest hospital? It's no good diverting to the grass strip at Boona with maybe an ambulance in a single bed hospital when 20 minutes down the road you could be landing at Amberley, which has got a big hospital and ambulances and all sorts of stuff. So it may actually dictate, that emergency may dictate or may make you consider replanning, but it might also just prompt that thing in your head. to get onto Brisbane Centre and say, hey guys, I'm going to need an ambulance when I arrive because I have a sick passenger. Or I've hit a bird and I've got a broken windscreen and I can't see, so I might need a fire truck to help me. Okay. Another consideration might be the engine's sick. I'm diverting because I don't want to cross that high terrain. And this engine, it's running, it's keeping me in flight, but it's not running particularly well. You might want to consider, instead of diverting to that short little grass runway, if a couple of miles further down the track there's a big long runway and I know I'm not going to be able to do a go round, maybe I might want to reconsider my emergency, or just be prepared. There might be a stuck trim, there might be a stuck flap. You might want to consider your controllability checks. You might want to consider, how slow can I get it and still control the aircraft? Now's the time to just be thinking about that. Are you about to be stuck in bad weather? Is your emergency due to bad weather? Are you about to be stuck in it before you go into that cloud? And if you end up going into cloud as no option, get on the radio, call ATC, they can help you out. Or am I just lost? I've been battling on in this bad weather and the emergency is I'm lost. Call ATC, get onto Brisbane Centre, get on to Gold Coast Approach. They might be able to help you out. They might be able to get you somewhere. If you need to declare an emergency, get 7700 up on your transponder. Hey, my passenger is really sick. This is an emergency. I need priority through airspace that I wouldn't normally be allowed to fly in. Okay, get on the radio, declare the emergency. Don't be scared to do it. The paperwork's not that hard. And if you've got a legitimate emergency, go nuts. Guys, my passenger's sick, or my engine's not running particularly well. I would like clearance through the Brisbane controlled airspace to land at Brisbane. Thanks. Ask for it. Don't be scared. That's what the E in emergency stands for. Radio calls. Now's a good time to note down what radio calls you're going to make. What calls do you need to make on your new track? You did your pre-planning for your flight. You were ready for where you were going to change frequencies. You knew where you were going to call centre to get an area QNH. You knew when you were going to call on the Grafton CTAF. Now you need to start looking at that again. So radio calls. What do I need to make? Have a look along your line on your VTC. Note down those CTAF frequencies we talked about earlier on. Make sure you know where you're going. You know where you are. You know where you were. Or you've got a distance. Where's 10 miles from your destination airfield? Where do you need to make that CTAF call? Now's the time to put it down. Am I going to need an airways clearance? If I can legitimately get one, then go nuts and get one. Where do I need to get it? What frequency? Might be time to pull out the URSA or the EFB and look up the frequencies for Gold Coast Tower or for Gold Coast Approach to make sure you've got the right frequencies. Turn and time, the last item. Don't forget when you turn to log your time. It is so easy. You've got all your prep done. You've got everything ready. You've found your point. We're overhead the town of Kyogle. We're going to do a diversion. Turn and time. And I forgot to log the time. Don't forget the time. I've done it. Everyone's done it. That's why the last item in buying DIVERT mnemonic is turn and time. Make sure you know where you're going to turn. Okay, we've already decided we're going to turn. We've planned ahead. The weather's getting worse and worse and worse. We've planned ahead. We're going to divert at Kyogle. You know where you're going to do it. Don't forget it. Make sure you start that time. All right, from here, I've got two actual examples for you to watch from a recent flight. They're particularly pertinent because the diversions were due to bad weather. Now, normally we'd simulate in about a similar spot a diversion. On this example, we had to divert. There is no way we could have continued the flight to our intended destination due to the weather. So sit back and enjoy two examples of actual diversions due to weather. Note the way we use the DIVERT mnemonic and enjoy.
We should be able to see big hills, 4,000 foot high hills. I can't see those.
To the right, they'll be in cloud. Yeah, I can see terrain there that goes into cloud.
Okay, see the gap opening up on the nose?
Yep.
Let's just descend down and have a bit more of a look at that. Because what I want to show you is a sucker gap.
Should we turn that left fuel tank back on?
I wanted to do it at time 30, but yeah, we can do it now if you like. I'll do it now. That's fine. It's been on for half an hour.
Yeah.
want to get down, because we can't make a decision on whether we can get through that gap yet or not, can we?
No.
And remember, we wanted to fly through the lowest bit of ground.
Which is that gap?
Which is that gap. Okay. So let's just have a look and see if we can get through it. And if we can't, we can still do what we wanted to do and achieve what we wanted to achieve today.
Training?
Training. We will still achieve a fair bit today. I didn't see Corralbin and I thought I would.
I wasn't looking.
It's okay, I was. Do we want to go through that gap?
I wouldn't. What do you reckon, Captain?
Okay. What do we need to go through that gap?
No.
Can we safely say that on the other side of that gap we will be not in cloud?
No.
Then let's not go through that gap.
Okay.
Okay?
That is the right answer, right?
That is the correct answer.
Cool.
But I'm just trying to help you think here. So come around to the left and stay in the low ground. Okay. Yeah, I'm just trying to help you think here. Okay, socked in all the way to the left, socked in all the way to the right, we've got one gap. That's what I call a sucker gap. We don't know what's on the other side of that gap.
Sucker gap.
And we've got these big fluffy clouds on the top here, which means there's convective shit going on in there, so it's turbulent. It's probably going to be raining out of that one there shortly. Okay, so
you can see it's slightly hazy.
We're now down at 1500 at the cloud base, so the cloud's continuing to come down.
Yeah,
let's turn around and go back that way.
Okay, I'll turn to the left, no right.
Yeah, I turn right. Do not go into cloud. We know that we're in here, okay?
Yeah.
Just coming into the first of it, in fact, I would say, what I want you to do is, see those houses over there?
Yeah, I see them.
I want you to head over there. Actually, see this house here?
Yeah, I see it.
I want you to head over there, probably descend a little bit more so we don't go into cloud, and hold over there. Right down here. Assuming that that is, however the hell you say that.
You okay?
Get me to Boona.
Get you to Boona.
So the first thing we want to do, details down. What I would do, because we're going to be holding, I'd probably bring the power back a little.
Okay.
In fact, I'll tell you what, take an over. I'll fly the Echo so you can work on the diversion.
1,500.
Details down.
Tango, Quebec. No reported alpha traffic, 1,000.
So, we know where we are. Can I just have the trim?
1,500.
Yeah.
We know where we are, so details down. Track to Boona. And distance to Boona.
Where did you say we were?
0 nautical miles north of point, inbound Pacific Gold Coast. Request code.
Well, where do you think we are? We were on this line here.
Yeah, correct.
Okay, and I thought that was Ineos plane. There's one of these two here.
Okay.
Yeah?
751, and it was
They were just to the right of it.
Yeah, well, I'm just circling around it. We can go back and set course overhead it, but one of those is Ineos plane. If you can find a better fix, go with it.
I don't really see a better fix, unfortunately.
Their pool's empty. Don't forget to take 10 off.
I would have forgotten, thank you. Do you want to get to Boona?
Draw a line on the map, yeah. I want to go to Boona.
You want to go to Boona? Are you just circling?
Yeah, I'm just holding here for you. Like I said, I'm just going to hold here. We've got the fuel to do it. So we still want to practice this diversion.
This should be hella tricky if I had to still try and fly the bloody plane well.
That's why I said taking over.
Echo Whiskey, identified. Let's get one contact.
I mean, if we really wanted to, we could go through there to the town of Rathdowney, but I don't want to go in there.
Again, that's another choke point you're flying into.
Yeah, we could, but I don't want to.
There we go, heading 298. Should take us to Boona.
Distance?
Distance.
Track of 298, not a heading, by the way.
What's this? This is 1000, 1000.
It's at 1250.
Yep. No, 250.
Yep.
Oh, 'cause it's a VTC, of course. About 16 miles.
How far?
16.
Okay, have you written this down somewhere?
Yep.
Is it possible?
Yes, it should be possible.
We've got enough fuel?
Yes, we have enough fuel.
And it's physically possible to get there?
Yes, it's physically possible to get there.
Okay, VTC, VEC, are there any
Obstacles in the way?
obstacles or controlled airspace or anything in the way?
No controlled airspace. Corralbin, thank you. That should be our only problem on the way there.
Okay.
We should be clear of it, or their controlled airspace. Sorry, their circuit area.
Yep. Emergencies. What's our emergency?
Weather. We
Just
can't go
weather.
through. Yep.
Yeah, okay, so we don't know. Okay, so where are we going to turn? What are we going to turn on to?
298.
298.
Correct.
Okay. Where's the wind coming from?
The wind is coming from 320 at 15 knots.
Just roughly put 320, put a pin 320 on your map. I can tell you where the wind's coming from because I've been flying a circle and we're getting blown this way.
That way.
Okay, so we've got a headwind or a tailwind or a straight crosswind?
Headwind.
How much? How strong is it?
15 knots.
15 knots. So where's the wind coming from? Just about there?
Yeah, correct.
So we say about 10 knots of headwind?
Yep.
So we're going to do about 90 knots over the ground. Very quickly work out how long it's going to take us to get to Boona.
A whiz wheel.
I lost him.
No.
Do you want mine?
Got it handy. I know it's here somewhere.
No stress. No stress. We have to.
Thank you.
That one's very second hand though.
That's all right, it'll still work.
Whiskey, Brisbane.
I can't get the reading, I'll just blame the whiz wheel.
What's that about a poor craftsman and his tools?
Yeah. 16, so that should take us 9.5 minutes.
Okay.
Oh, sorry?
Tango Quebec at Park Ridge, contact Archerfield Tower.
10.5 minutes.
10.5 minutes.
Decimal 1.
So we go with 10 minutes. What's the time now?
Park Ridge 118.
39. 49. We should be at Boona. What's the heading?
298.
298.
298.
So 332 is no good to anyone. Then.
Good morning, that's alright.
So 332 is no good to anyone then.
332.
I was on the wrong heading.
Oh, okay. So I'm following now. Yes, you're right. What do we say? 49.
Okay, what radio calls do we need to make?
We need to make one for
Corralbin
Corralbin.
and one for Boona.
Boona.
For traffic, that's the 172.
Probably leave it about 1,500.
Overhead port is 1,500 over water.
I want you, okay, we can see this road coming up here.
Tracking for
Yes.
Gold Coast via Q1. Looking up for
And I'll keep flying while we do this just for your benefit. See if you can see where we cross that. Where do we cross that there?
And Echo Whiskey, Brisbane Centre.
Should be a river.
Apologies, Echo Whiskey.
Echo Whiskey.
There's a river right underneath us.
But then we should be crossing.
Literally underneath us.
Right there.
What I want you to do next, okay,
Yep.
is divert from Boona to Kangaroo.
A route, yep.
I'll keep flying, I'm happy. Okay, another little, oh sorry, I'll wait till you're done there. And then I'll show another little tip for young players. Some important learning points here today.
Okay.
Find me a level horizon. We could be any angle of bank. Where's our nose attitude? We could be any nose attitude. Find me a horizon.
So this is the danger of flying IFR.
This is the danger of flying into shitty weather like this. I can't see the horizon.
All you can see is bumpy terrain.
Yeah, there's no attitude. It's hard to set an attitude. In fact, I'm performance flying because I'm struggling to find an attitude to set an attitude. Yeah?
That's a good point. I hadn't thought of that.
What was
This has to be Bruno. Yeah, isn't that the hangars over there?
got
left?
it. Thank you. Spot on. So we are going to be overhead about time 50. Let's talk about our diversion. Details down?
Yep, details down. So next heading is 45. 18 miles. Should take us 12 minutes.
Is it possible?
Yes. Yes, it's possible. There's a Mount Joyce just next to the dam. So as long as we stay to the left, actually go right at the top of it.
Yep.
So we can choose left or right of that tower when we get, or that mountain when we get there. Other than that, we should be fine. No controlled airspace, no danger zones, no other airfields in the way.
What's our emergency?
Weather.
So there's no
the weather.
Okay.
No calls, no nothing like that.
What radio calls do we need to make?
Just one down at Kagera.
Okay.
Which would be back on the area frequency, correct?
Yeah, I reckon.
Yeah.
This is Boona.
Correct.
That's where we would have been coming through.
No, we wouldn't have. Yeah, I can see cloud and terrain. That's all I can see.
Yeah,
I can't see any gap in between.
So, what's our heading?
45.
045?
045, correct.
Where's the wind coming from?
It should be coming from directly crosswind.
So it's going to blow us right?
Correct.
Okay. Radio calls, mate. Boona traffic, TACNAV 7440 is overhead the field. Turning right now to track 4 Kangaroo and on climb to 2000. Boona. There's no one around. If there was aircraft in the circuit, we possibly wouldn't have got quite that close, but we're above their circuit height.
Yep.
Their circuit height's 1330. So, what was the heading? Sorry?
045.
Do you want to fly? Or do you want me to fly? I don't mind.
I'll fly again.
Make the time overhead 5-1. Oh, 5-0. Make the time overhead 5-0.
So we're 1 minute slower than we should have been.
Yeah, but remember I slowed it down because of the hills.
Yep.
Because of the turbulence. Okay, handing over.
Alright, my plan. Thank you.
It's out of trim, by the way.